Director, Jaipuria Institute of Management, is pleased to give a very warm welcome on this international conference, Emerging Global Economic Perspective. This international conference on emerging global economic perspectives is another leap forward by Jaipuria Institute of Management in continuation of our preceding two conferences on challenges of managing sustenance and growth in the era of economic downturns held in April 2012 and changing global economic perspective, managing sustained and inclusive growth held in February 2014. Now, in this conference in 2015, the aim is to understand challenges in managing sustenance and growth in global economic condition and to get a conglomeratic and exhaustive view from academia, corporate sector, government institutions, policy maker, and international agency to come out with a possible solutions and extended concrete recommendation on diversified area facing the economic challenges. Since last year, 2014, economic growth peaked substantially, inflation declined in absolute terms, and the external positions become comfortable in India. This has happened because of the positive domestic policies and favorable international financial conditions, especially in the global oil prices. The outlook for India is for economic strengthening through higher infrastructure spending, through domestic saving and investment. Economic survey of this year also having the view that infrastructure has the largest potential for productivity gains and for generation of employment appropriate to the skill available in India. On the other side, increased participation and fiscal devolution to states and continued reforms in banking, markets and policy, especially monetary and fiscal, are the other tasks which leads to Indian economy on the growth path. India faces challenges that are mostly in domestic economy rather than external economy. The most important amongst them relates to the experience of the last few years that led to over-exuberant investment, especially in the infrastructure and in the form of the public-private partnership. One report said there is a stalled project to the tune of 18 lakh crore, which is about 13% of the GDP, of which an estimate of 60% are in infrastructure. In turn, this reflects low and decline corporate profitability as more than one-third firms have the interest coverage ratio of less than 1%. Over-indebtedness in the corporate sector with median debt equity ratio of 70% is among us the highest in the world. That is the true picture. India is the third largest economy in the world based on the purchasing power parity calculations, and India's position is subdued by lack of world-class infrastructure. Infrastructure development, which is a main issue and one of the major determinants of economic growth in any developing country. Infrastructure, which is refers to the support structures that facilitate production of goods and services, distribution of finished product to the market, as also basic social services such as schools and hospitals. In a sense, infrastructure is a catalytic agent for any economy. India's average investment in infrastructure is around 5% of GDP during 1992 to 2010, compared to the poorly to an average of 7.3% across the China, Indonesia and Vietnam. India ranked 90 out of 144 countries as per the World Economic Forum Global Competency Report of 2014-15. In terms of infrastructure quality, with inadequate supply of infrastructure listed as one of the most problematic factors for doing business, as mentioned in one of the report of the RBI by that time former Deputy Governor. India's growth success has been driven by service producing industry, mostly those employing relatively skilled labor forces. The average share of the manufacturing value added in India's GDP remain low at 17.8% during the 11-13 as per the economic survey of 14-15. International comparison suggests that actual manufacturing sharing of GDP in India is lower than what is predicted, while the opposite in case of the China, as per 2007 report. Globalization has compelled countries to enhance the growth. Several growth-oriented strategies that include trade openness, FDI inflows, and capital mobility, including technology transfers, have been adopted in a very big way. The argument which is usually given in favor of technology transfer is that the wheel that has already been adopted need not have to be rediscovered if countries seeking to the cost efficient. However, one important hypothesis in the context of sluggish employment growth in the industrial sector relate to the acquisition of capital-intensive technology imported from abroad. The import of the new technology, which primarily is a capital-intensive and skill-intensive, result in an increased demand for skilled workers and not for the less skilled ones. The forces driving in the global outlook and the associated risk pose a significant policy challenges. In high-income countries as compared to the developing countries, the still fragile recovery calls for continued accommodative monetary policy and a flexible approach to the fiscal policy which supports growth, but it is also accompanied by the concrete medium-term consolidation plans and structural reforms. In developing countries, global financial tightening could reduce capital flow and trigger further currency depreciations. Though depreciations may be strengthen export and help current account adjustment, they could weaken balance